I have been writing for about 17 years, since 2008. And this one is a book of short stories.
Hello, everyone. What if the smiling judge you loved on Britain's Got Talent, the man who sold over 50 million children's books and made the nation laugh, was hiding a heartbreaking truth? Behind the jokes and golden buzzers, David Walliams was fighting battles no audience ever saw, suicidal thoughts, crushing depression, and scandals that shattered his career. His life is not just about fame, but about survival. This is the tragic, untold story of David Walliams, the star who nearly lost everything while the world cheered. David Edward Williams was born on August 20th, 1971, in Merton, London. His father, Peter Williams, worked for London Transport, earning around $8,000 a year, while his mother, Kathleen, worked in a hospital laboratory, making just over $5,000. From the outside, theirs was the picture of an ordinary working-class family in a small two-bedroom house in Banstead, Surrey. But inside that home, young David was already escaping into worlds of imagination. At just 4 years old, he would lock himself in the bathroom for hours, mimicking voices he had heard on television, creating full conversations with imaginary characters. His mother once walked in to find him mid-performance, holding an entire show for an audience of one,
in 2022
himself.
Shocked the nation.
What no one realized then was that he wasn't simply playing.
Got Talent.
He was already fighting sadness and anxiety that weighed heavily on him. When he was 7, he joined the Sea Scouts, hoping to find friendship and belonging. Instead, he was bullied for his posh voice and dramatic nature. That summer, at a camp on Brownsea Island, the bullying escalated to something unthinkable.
That started when
One
he
night,
was
David was found hanging from a tree with his neckerchief. Leaders brushed it off as an accident. But years later, David admitted the truth. It was his first suicide attempt. At just 7 years old, he no longer wanted to live. By age 10, comedy had become his refuge. He collected 47 comedy albums, memorizing routines by Monty Python and Rowan Atkinson. His mother would often wake in the early hours to find him in her clothes, performing elaborate sketches in front of the mirror. Yet behind the humor, his struggles grew darker. Doctors prescribed him imipramine, a heavy antidepressant rarely given to children. He wore headphones for hours on end to block the noise in his head.
What nobody knew
his school grades slipped from A's to D's as he chose laughter and performance over everything else. At Reigate Grammar School, he became a target for bullying. Classmates mocked him with the nickname Coco. He was beaten, locked in cupboards, and even forced to perform comedy acts in the toilets while bullies hurled wet paper at him. His weight plummeted, and his teacher noted the frequent bruises he tried to explain away as falls.
Summer, during
at just 12 years old, after another humiliating incident at Scouts, David attempted to hang himself with his school tie. His mother found him unconscious, and the ambulance arrived at 7:43 p.m. Doctors kept him under psychiatric watch for 3 days, writing that his thoughts were far too dark for a child of his age. Yet even through the trauma in drama class, he excelled. His one-man show about loneliness earned him 98%. Comedy was his mask and his medicine. At 16, he joined the National Youth Theater, where he met Matt Lucas, who would later become his creative partner. Despite being surrounded by others who loved acting, he felt like an outsider. At 18, he made a life-altering decision. When joining the Actors Union, he discovered another performer named David Williams already existed. Opening a phone book, he chose a new surname,
his mom
Walliams.
Once found him
to his father, it felt like betrayal, but for David, it was escape. Becoming David Walliams meant leaving behind the boy he could not bear to be. At Bristol University, where he studied drama, his struggles only worsened. One Christmas, back home in his childhood bedroom, he overdosed on pills. His mother found him motionless and rushed him to hospital. He survived, but barely. That moment finally made his parents realize just how serious his pain was.
His grades dropped
he carried
fast.
on. It was outrageous,
months,
shocking, and unlike anything else on air. Within 3 years,
he was
it
choosing
moved to BBC
over
3, and later to BBC 1, exploding into a cultural phenomenon. By 2005, Little Britain was pulling nearly 10 million viewers per episode. Walliams' characters, Emily Howard, the mock lady, Vicky Pollard, the chav, and Marjorie Dawes, the cruel weight loss leader, became household names. DVDs sold millions, and a $25 million comedy empire was born. Yet behind the
ended up in
wigs,
the
makeup,
hospital
and exaggerated
twice.
voices,
Once for a
Walliams was
broken
falling
nose,
apart.
and
In
once after
2003
being locked.
alone, he attempted suicide multiple times, slitting his wrists and throat, later trying to hang himself. His diary confessed, "I knew
The
I
worst
didn't really
moment
want to
came
die.
in 1984
I just didn't want to
when
live."
bullies forced him to do comedy acts
Even while
in the school
hospitalized at
toilets
the
while they
Priory
threw
Clinic
wet
for
toilet
depression, he
paper at
continued
them.
performing.
Still,
The
in
laughter of
drama
millions
class,
couldn't
he got
silence
top
the
marks.
torment inside him. As comedy began to evolve, David Walliams found new purpose in children's literature. In 2008, he published The Boy in the Dress, the story of a boy who wears girls' clothes. While controversial among some parents, it struck a chord with young readers and marked the beginning of a hugely successful second career. He went on to write bestsellers like Gangsta Granny, Ratburger, and The World's Worst Children, drawing comparisons to Roald Dahl. By 2022, his books had sold over 50 million copies worldwide and were translated into 53 languages, turning him into one of the most successful children's authors of his generation.
Year, when he was 12,
but away from the page,
David tried to
turbulence
take his life.
continued to follow him. In 2011, Walliams swam 140 miles down the River Thames, raising millions for charity. The challenge nearly killed him when he contracted a severe infection. A year earlier, in 2010, he had married Dutch supermodel Lara Stone, and in 2013, they welcomed their son, Alfred. Yet by 2015, their marriage had crumbled, leading to a bitter legal battle over assets and custody. Meanwhile, Walliams was thriving on Britain's Got Talent. Joining the panel in 2012 alongside Simon Cowell, Amanda Holden, and Alicia Dixon, he quickly became a fan favorite for his humor and heartfelt golden buzzer moments. The 2015 finale drew nearly 13 million viewers. But in 2020,
his doctor
crude
wrote that
private
his
remarks
thoughts
he
were
made
far
off
more
camera were
serious
secretly
than what you'd
recorded.
expect for
When transcripts leaked in 2022, the backlash was immediate. Sponsors pulled out, fans were outraged, and Fremantle canceled his $1 million contract. Though he sued and later settled in 2023, the damage was done. He lost millions in projects, and his once trusted reputation as a family entertainer lay in ruins. Behind the headlines was a man still fighting the same demons from childhood. During an episode of Who Do You Think You Are? In 2020, Walliams discovered that his great-grandfather, John George Borman, had spent 43 years in a mental asylum after World War I.
At age 13,
For
David joined the
it
National
explained
Youth
everything.
Theater.
Mental illness had haunted his family for generations. In 2024, he spoke openly about his darkest moments, describing how his mother once found him unconscious after an overdose. He admitted, "It broke her heart. She cried for weeks. I am ashamed I was so selfish to put her through this." He confessed that he lived in constant fear.
It had to
Fear
join
of
the Actors
life,
Equity
fear of
Union.
love, fear of
But someone
everything.
else was already
And
named
yet, through it
David
all,
Williams.
writing remained his
So,
salvation.
he opened the phone book.
By 2025, his book sales had surpassed 50 million. Gangsta Granny alone had sold over 1 million copies. His tours in India drew massive audiences, and in December 2024, he reunited with Matt Lucas to create a new podcast called Making a Scene. They promised it would be funny, but never cruel, a chance to adapt to the times and reclaim their voices.
That simple
The story
moment
of David
would change
Walliams
his
isn't
life.
just one of scandal
His
or
father
even
was
fame.
upset.
It's the
He
story
felt
of a
like David
boy
was
who,
throwing
at just
away their
7 years
family
old,
name.
tried to leave this world, and of a man who, decades later, is still fighting to stay. It's a story of laughter masking pain, of books that brought joy to millions, even as their author wrestled with despair. Behind the laughter of David Walliams lies a journey marked by pain, resilience, and survival. His story reminds us that even the brightest stars can battle the darkest shadows. What do you think? Has his struggle shaped his art or stolen his peace? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.